Good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar, Making Sense of Online Marketing. Today, we're going to cover the basics of online marketing, including how customers find you online, how to set yourself up for success, and how to build repeat business. My name's Dixie. My co-host is Katrine, and we are from Easy Marketing, which is celebrating our 21st year in business. We're located in Northeast Florida with clients throughout the US as well as abroad. If you're new to us, we specialize in website design, email marketing, social media management, and graphic design. And our clients, we like to use a lot of examples from them. So, they go from local upstarts to international green energy companies. We really have a passion for helping entrepreneurs and small businesses and nonprofits. So, we're really honored that you have chosen to spend this time with us here today. So as we dive right into our topic, we want to know something about our audience. So I'm going to launch a little poll. All right, so that's open now. If you can quickly go in and check those. We want to know all the different ways that you are currently using online marketing. So does your business or organization have a website? Are you using a professional email marketing platform? Do you have social media accounts? Are you interacting with review sites like your Google business profile, Yelp, that sort of thing? So let us know kind of what you're currently doing so we can gauge, how savvy our audience is and what we need to spend more time talking about today. All right, I'm going to close that in 3, 2, 1. All right. Thank you so much for participating. So it looks like a great number of you have a website, which is awesome. So this is a pretty savvy group. Also, a lot using social media and email marketing, but only half using listing and review sites. So we'll spend a little bit of time talking about that. If you are a little bit intimidated by some forms of online marketing, you're not alone. We get it. Online marketing is not always intuitive, but it is an incredible opportunity. If you're like most of our clients, we know you're busy trying to build and grow your business and you're wearing many hats. So it's not always easy to keep up the latest marketing tools. You might be sort of business operators by trade and marketers by necessity. So today we're going to share some of the fundamentals of marketing and really try to show you how all the pieces work together so that you can focus your time and energy on the best things that are going to get real results for your business. All right. So nearly 7 in 10 people are searching online today for local businesses like yours. And not only are businesses getting discovered online by potential customers, but 43% report experiencing significant growth with online sales. So it's not that we're against word of mouth and traditional advertising, those certainly still have their place. But today, when an organization like yours is online, you're opening up new opportunities and creating huge potential for people to find your business. And yet, nearly half of small businesses don't have a website, much less some of these other digital marketing tools. So the missed opportunity, the lost revenue, it's enormous. So why here in 2023 do some of us still not have a website? Why are we not online and using more of these digital marketing tools? If you look at statistics, 4 out of 10 people just don't think online tools are relevant. More than a third are not really convinced that they're effective. But the biggest chunk simply don't have enough experience with digital tools and don't have the time to learn. So we hope since you're here today that we're positive with a better understanding of online marketing and a little dose of confidence that you can make informed decisions about where to spend your valuable time to help your business grow. So we're going to break this down into 5 steps, and today we'll cover how people find you online. Let me go back to that. One second. How to set yourself up for success and how to encourage new and repeat business. So first, how people find you online. Katrine?
Yes, so if they can't find you online, how do they even know that you exist? Because again, a lot of people are looking and looking for companies and or services. So it's important that you are fine. So let's take a look at when someone makes a search on Google. So Google is by far the biggest search engine out there. So in this case, we simply put in Constant Contact in here, and it's interesting because the screen you're going to find on a laptop is going to show three different things here. First, we're going to take the look at the box to the right. That is what we call Google listing. It's called Google Business Profile. That's where you have an image, a map, a link to a website. There are comments, there are questions, there is feedback. And this is a free service. It used to be called Google My Business, but now it's called Google Business Profile. And it is the first thing you really need to do. You need to get yourself a domain name, even if you don't have a website, and yourself an email address with your domain name. And I think Dixie is going to cover that later on. And then you go up and set up your Google Business Profile. So that's what people see on the right-hand side. Up top, you can see the little word add. So that means that Constant Contact is actually paying to show up on the top. So anything with the word add, someone has paid to show up. And then the second part is they come up, and we call that generic. It means that a lot of people are looking for it, and it's close enough for the match to Google to put that on top of the search. So next slide. So, oh, okay, I'm sorry, Dixie. Of course, you have the but I had my my comment in front of me. And here is another thing you can find when you make a search. Especially for small and new companies, the first thing that shows up on a search after you have that paid ad at the top, if there is one in your category, is usually actually something from social media. So the first one here is YouTube. So that's why it's important to set up your social media platforms, and especially Facebook and YouTube. Those are really, really strong. And YouTube, of course, they are owned by Facebook, by Google, I'm sorry. So they do come up first. The second one is a review. So that review is PC Magazine, which is an old established website, and people have come in and done review of all kind of software in here, and you can see that that comes in second. And then a little bit further down after that is actually Facebook. So that shows up as well, and then a Wikipedia post. And you're going to see if you get started, most likely your Facebook page is the one that's going to come up first, because a lot of small companies, that's where they start. So that's why it's so important to fill out everything that has to do with all your information on your Facebook page, so people can click on about and then get to the website to find more about you. And very often, again, especially if you're a local business, you have the option to set up Google Business Profile, and that's when things show up as a little map and your business shows up. And we can spend hours and hours to talk about how you show up on Google Business Profile, but I think we're going to do that in a separate workshop later on. So the most important thing here is that you need to make sure that you are found online, because that's where people are looking.
Thank you, Katrine. So we have sort of a good understanding, I think, in this group of how people find you online. So think about next, what can we make sure that we have a strong foundation in place? So let's talk about some of the tools that you can and should be using and some tips to help you get started. Every business is different, but as a foundation, these are the 5 online marketing tools that we recommend to help your business be successful. So first, a website, and that website needs to be mobile responsive. and an email marketing tool such as Constant Contact or MailChimp, at least one social media channel, an up-to-date business listing such as the Google Business Profile, and an easy way to create content. So we're going to examine each of these in turn. First and foremost is your website. So this is your online hub. Everything else that you do digitally, so your email, your social media, all of that is going to point back to your website. So it's essential that you have one, which most of you in this group do, and that you get it right. So step number one is to make sure that it's mobile responsive, which means that when customers visit www.yourbusiness.com, that the website recognizes whether they're visiting from a desktop or a mobile device like their phone. And then it's going to adapt the navigation, the image sizes, and all the other elements accordingly. If you've ever been to like an old school website and like half the pictures cut off and you have to scroll, that is not mobile responsive. And nothing screams, I don't know what I'm doing, like a website that's not mobile friendly.
Yeah, and this also depends very much about your industry. So if you're taking a view of everything you have right now, if you are business to business in manufacturing, like Dawn is saying, most likely 95% of your visitors to your website are going to be on a desktop. But if you are real estate, for example, or you're anything else where consumers are and where they like to, you think they are just browsing around, you have to spend a lot of time making sure that your online presence via your website is up to date.
That is such a great point. More than a third of online conversions across the board are made on a mobile device, and that's continuing to grow. So, regardless of your industry, it's important to think about how things are going to look and work on that tiny 3-inch screen. Also, we want to talk about, Katrine touched on this, a domain name. So this is a unique name that identifies a website. It's this string in the DMS, and it's going to point to the server. So even if you're not planning to do the website, the full website, you want to get your domain name. So how much it costs kind of depends on how popular it is, but for most businesses, you can get one for like $25 a year. So ours is easymarketing.com because we're a commercial, for-profit business, but you could use .org if you're a nonprofit, .edu if you're some kind of educational institution, and there are other options for businesses outside of the US. But you can purchase this from a reputable source like GoDaddy, Microsoft, or Google. The important thing is that if you have somebody else do this for you, to make sure that you own the domain name and that you have access to it. So you're going to check, when does it expire? You can typically register it for more than 1 year. And once you have a domain name, you also want to set up email addresses using that domain. So anybody can set up a Gmail, but that doesn't prove that you are part of that business. My son, my 12-year-old son, could go up and set up a Gmail and sort of pretend to be Easy Marketing. But unless he's, Dixie at easymarketing.com, that shows that we have access to that domain. And it's a really much better way to do business and to prove that you are who you say you are.
Yeah, and the two biggest way to do this is to set up your emails is either via Microsoft or you can do Google Workspace. Those are the biggest ones when it comes to setting up and handling your emails.
Yeah, and it's not super expensive, typically about $5 per email per month. You can set up a specific one, like I said, with your name, and you can also set up generic ones. And this is important if you think that if you have other people in your business and they might be coming and going, like your receptionist or office manager, you can set up, office or info at your domain name. And that way you can keep that same email address when people come and go in the organization. So once you have your mobile responsive website established, you've got your domain name and your email addresses, then you really want to start thinking about email marketing. So why email? It's still ranked as the most effective marketing channel. And like your website, it's an asset you own. The contacts are yours. If you're doing it right, the subscribers are people who have said, yes, I want you to contact me. And email marketing and your website are going to work hand in hand. When you have your website, you're going to have a little pop-up like this where you collect and ask for email addresses, often with a little incentive as shown. And then in turn, as you send out your marketing emails, you're typically going to point people back to your website to actually make the contact, buy the product, sign up for the consultation, do whatever it is, the action that you want from them. So these work really well together to help you sort of close the sale. Here's what our email opt-in looks like. If you visit our website, you're going to see this pop up. You can also, right now, if you want, use your phone to scan the QR code or type in the URL. We welcome you to use this as a sort of a template. If you're not sure about the wording, you do have to have consent and an opt-out. And we'd also love for you to sign up. We typically send out emails once or twice a month with information about free webinars, and ours are really never salesy or intrusive. So we'd love to continue to keep in touch with you.
Yeah, and what you see here is what you can do with Constant Contact. You can create a QR code and you can create these pop-ups, and they don't even need to be pop-ups. They could just be a button, and then the pop-up comes up. And so if you want to, you take a look and use this and as an example, but also sign up for our emails.
Absolutely. So as new subscribers join that email list that you're set up, you're going to want to contact them right away. And we recommend either a welcome email or even a series. This kind of sets the tone for further communication, lets them know what to expect, and can often help them connect with other resources, such as your social media channel or things that are going to be of value to them, like frequently asked questions on your website, product tutorials, things of that nature. Like any relationship, it needs to be nurtured. So if you're going to do email marketing, plan on sending at least one email a month. If you don't do that, people are going to kind of forget that they signed up for your emails, and you're not really getting the value out of it. So put it on your calendar. If you use Constant Contact or MailChimp or some kind of email marketing tool, you can get beautiful templates to make it easy and quick with your time to put together something that's beautiful and has a call to action button. And you want these to have a good combination of promotions where you're trying to get people to sign up, buy your product, come to your website, but also more helpful resources, things that are of value to the customer. So these are going to be articles, these are going to be how-tos, lists, things like that that make people want to come to your website and make them want to open your email because there's something there that is of use to them.
Yeah, and we actually, since you told us what you're doing, let's do a couple of examples. So we have Angela is a real estate agent, so she would have a welcome email, and then since she needs to send one a month, those could just be tips or updates about the market around where she is. And then in between, as soon as she has a listing or an open house, that's the time to send an extra email. Dawn has the business to business for manufacturing, and in her case, that could also be information. It could be new products, but it can also be information about the products they already have. If they have, I don't know what kind of manufacturing you're doing, but whatever it is, there is always something of value for people to see. And then you might have some new products, and then you just put them in between there. So yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Industry awards, new people joining your company. There's always something to talk about. So yeah, those were great examples, Katrine. The next tool, so you've got your website, you got your email marketing set up. The next tool you'll want to consider is social media. So even if you're not ready to use it, we recommend that you go ahead and claim your business name on all the channels. This keeps somebody else from using it. And you don't think that you have to be everywhere, but it is nice to claim the Facebook, the Instagram, the Twitter, get all those handles in your back pocket. And then you want to think about, okay, what is going to be my primary channel? This is going to be the one that makes sense for your business based on your customers. So if you're a business to business, like we were just talking about, you're probably going to use LinkedIn because that's a much more relationship-based platform. If you're trying to sell something that's very beautiful and demonstrative, like food or, facial products, that's for Instagram. But for most new or small businesses, Facebook is still the OG, the best way to go. People use Facebook these days almost like a search engine. So if they maybe heard of you and aren't sure what you're all about, they're going to go to Facebook, maybe even before Google, and search you. And if you don't have a Facebook page, it looks a little suspicious. So they want to see, are you there? Are you active? Are you still in business? And so that's kind of where you want to be. Understand that each channel has its own personality. So if you have multiple channels, you don't necessarily want to be posting the exact same thing at the same time across all their channels. You can keep a theme, right? You can talk about the same topic, but you've got to modify it to suit the personality of the channel. So Twitter, for example, is a very real-time, happening now, talking about, what's happening today, where Facebook is a little bit more evergreen. Instagram is something that, it's very beautiful to look at as people are scrolling. And we're going to do an entire series just about social media. So we'll go into more of that next month. But just to give you ideas, the whole point is, unless you're trying to be an influencer and you're trying to rack up likes and subscribers, the whole point is to drive traffic. You're trying to point people back to your website or get them to join your email list. So don't just be posting for the sake of posting, but always have that in mind. So again, we're going to talk more about social media in depth next time, but just if you're thinking about, okay, what channels am I on? Or if I'm just on one, do I need to expand to get to our broader audience? These are kind of the core of what each of these channels is about. So Facebook is sort of a great starter platform where people are sharing things with family and friends. LinkedIn is a professional network there, so be careful not to be too salesy. It's more about what's happening in my industry and can I show myself to be somebody that is intelligent and has my finger on the pulse of that. Instagram, again, highly visual. It's typically a younger demographic there. Twitter is a public news feed, so I would say only go Twitter if you are prepared to keep on top of it, because people are expecting kind of immediate response. So if you don't have the bandwidth to do that, Twitter is probably not for you. Pinterest is great. It used to be just sort of like for moms and recipes, but right now it's blowing up with a whole bunch of tips and boards and ideas. So a lot of realtors are on Pinterest giving ideas about how to stage your house and what's going on with the market. And YouTube is in fact like the #1 search tool right now. So if you're thinking I need to expand my reach and I'm just on Facebook, YouTube might be the next best step for your organization. You can post short videos. Think about educational videos of your product, your services. You can post how-tos or tips. We recommend that for a lot of our clients, and they're getting a lot of reach out of YouTube.
Yeah, and YouTube is #2. I just want to correct you there. So Google is #1 search engine, but the #2, people might not know that it is YouTube. And we have some clients, and they are working on, really wanted to do podcasts, but it's actually easier to do a podcast by just putting a camera on you and recording it in YouTube, and that is working great as well.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So one thing we typically see is people trying to sort of copy and paste the same thing across multiple platforms. So just think again about how you have to speak to them in a different way. So if you have 2 children, right, you're not exactly like talking to them the same way. You're going to speak to them and their needs the same way with the different platforms. So on LinkedIn, we're going to keep it very business related. On Facebook, more fun and light. Pinterest is a great place for like lists, and things like Instagram are perfect for short videos and things that are demonstrative as well. So come back next month and we'll talk more about how to specifically use different platforms, which are right for your business, and how to get the most out of each one of those. The fourth tool that we want you to consider are listing and review sites. 84% of customers are more likely to take action based on recommendations. So think of this as like your recommendation site. And when referred by a friend, they're 4 times more likely to make a purchase. So at the very least, you want to claim your Google business listing, your Google business profile. You can see ours here. It shows the 5 stars. It gives little snippets of recent reviews, and it's free to do that. So there's no reason you shouldn't be claiming the Google business profile for your organization. We also recommend you claim your Yelp page and then anything specific to your industry. So, realtors have some kind of review sites. We work with a client who's in like chemical manufacturing. They have one that's specific to their industry. So, kind of research that and see where are people looking for the kind of work that I do so that I need to show up there. Um, Make sure all of your information is accurate and up to date. That's kind of step number one. And then make sure that you are responding to all the reviews, whether positive and negative. So if they're positive, thank them for their kind words. If you remember working with them, it's nice to say something specific about how much you enjoyed working with them or helping with them or hope they enjoy the product. And even more important, if it's a negative review, don't run from that. You want to respond every time with an apology if necessary, an offer to make it right, or a real commitment to fixing whatever the problem is doing better, because it's really hard to get rid of those negative reviews. So it's better to respond in a really positive and open way and then sort of try to drown out the negative ones with more positive reviews. And the final thing we want you to think about is creating content. So content is what people search for and consume and share online. It helps with your search engine optimization. So search engine optimization, SEO, is sort of the process of tweaking your content to improve your ranking, right? To get up higher organically. So you're not having to constantly pay to be at the top or constantly having to run ads. And it doesn't necessarily have to be complicated. There are some technical things that may require assistance, but as its core, it's really about delivering relevant and meaningful content to the kind of people that you're trying to reach. So think about producing something that's fresh, that's relevant, that aligns with what your audience is looking for. We often recommend a blog. It's a great way to kind of answer the questions that your customers are already asking. So if people call you up and ask you about a product or ask you about a service, that's a blog. Okay. If they have that question, other people have that same question as well. And if you write about that and you use some good keywords, you're helping your website. You're also helping your rankings. You can also email that out with your social media and post it on your social media. So you've spent your time doing one thing, writing a blog, but now you're able to use that same content in 4 different ways to help drive traffic back to your website. Um, so let's see here. So when you're doing that, you want to identify keywords, because remember, it's not a person looking at this, it's an algorithm. So they're trying to pick up those key search terms. And really just answering questions is the best way to get started if you're wondering, what should I be blogging about? What should I be writing about? And when you keep it fresh, when you're constantly adding new content to your website, that tells the algorithm, hey, there's something new here. Let's put it up a little higher. Otherwise, you're going down in the ranking. Katrine?
Okay, so let's see how it all comes together. So we talked about being on top of people's mind, and if you're not there, they're going to forget about your business, and that, of course, will make you lose money. So you can keep on top of people's mind, and we are using what's called the engagement marketing cycle. So it really starts by someone coming in, visiting your show, your business. Either you meet them online, or they come into your store, or you do service with them, and you are hopefully providing a wow, and that's their good experience. And with that, now it's your job to stay in touch with them. And you do this with emails, you do this with social media. If you're a big company like Coca-Cola, those ads are out there all the time, so no one is going to forget about the very big companies. And then if you also can engage them, if you can, not only they see your post, that what you're showing is informative, is funny, um, is a coupon, in some way it is engaging to them, they will come back to you and do business with you again. But not only that, if you set things up correctly, now you can actually start into what's called social visibility. And that can both be social media, but also email marketing, but also calling. So what's happening if you have a good post, for example, on social media, and someone finds that really useful, they are going to share that. If you write an email telling how to solve a problem or with a really good deal, they're going to forward that to their friends. So that's how you can drive the social visibility. And with that, you can increase your exposure out in the world, and your customers, friends will then be able to see what your customers were happy with, and that will make them a new prospect and a new customer, so that hopefully will be a very happy customer, and so it goes around, and that's how you can expand your market. And we also talk about Constant Contact, which is the platform we've been using. And you might know that as an email marketing platform, which is excellent, but there is also an element in there where you can actually run your social media from there. So instead of going to Facebook and Instagram and set your post up, you can do that within Constant Contact. And if you want to put a little bit of money behind it, you can do all of that in one place. So if you have interest and don't have email marketing or Constant Contact, let us know. We can give you a good deal. So give us an email or scan our code here, and we can get you 30% off for the first 3 months. And we will also offer anyone that is brand new to Constant Contact to create your first email marketing template, and also upload the contacts you have so far.
So thank you so much for joining this. This has been sort of an overview, or what are the different top tools that you can and should be using. So if you come back in future months, we're going to really dive in and get a lot more in depth with each of these topics. So next month, we're going to be talking about social media, about how to choose the right platform, what kind of content is right for each platform, what are the demographics of that. So we welcome you back then. Then the next month, using email marketing and then writing effective emails.